3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Good evening. It's Monday again already. Where has that week gone? Welcome along to Reading the Signs with me, Comedy John Ryan, and my pals from the world of comedy, showbiz, entertainment, and anywhere else I can find them, really. Every week we talk about mental health, mental wellness, what we do, why we do it, how we deal with the good times, the bad times. We want you to help as well. Let us have your top tips for well-being. Let us know you're there by putting comments in the box. Do give us a like on YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook. Just tell your friends, really. And subscribe, of course. Very important that you subscribe at this day and age. Quick mention to Lost Boys UK for this fantastic theme tune. Have a look at my website, happytohelpyou.com. We've got great guests. We've got a great show. We've got a great audience. Let's get to it. Let's start that again. It's always good to be here. It's not ever going to be straightforward, let's be honest. I've got no idea why we have these gremlins, but we do. Anyhow, let's see what that does. There you go. Let's see if that's helped. That has not helped at all, has it? Right, we will carry on with just audio for a while. It's Monday. How's your week been? What have you been up to since last week? I've had a pretty chaotic week with gigs, and I've got hay fever. Who gets hay fever in the 21st century? Well, clearly, me. How did I manage to get that? I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. However, I got it. I just got to live with it. And that's one of the problems that we have, isn't it, when we talk about health, is that some of us experience things differently to others. Sometimes you're going to get a problem and you can live with it or you can live without it. But that problem, while it's there, it's going to stay for a while. We had a pretty spectacular weekend because we had the royal birthday, of course, which by royal, I mean Natasha's birthday. But the weather ruined it, which was a bit of a pity, but there you go. We also had, of course, the Jubilee, the Queen's Jubilee, 70 years. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Do let us know. Let us know if you're there listening. Drop your comments in the boxes on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere, really. Anyway, right on your local wall. Why not? Let the neighbours think, what's going on over there then? Well, while I'm trying to sort out this camera problem, I'll give you a little pretty picture to look at. There you go, a nice little pretty picture. So, what have we got to look forward to tonight? We have got one of my comedy brothers. I've got a lot of time for this guy. Not just a comedian, but actually I would call him a friend. He's always been a very, very positive person to be around. He's one of those people that, even if things are getting him down, you would never know because he's just very, very upbeat. He doesn't seem to get swayed or put off when others would kind of flap about and have problems. He just prevails, really. I've known him for a few years now. He's a good comedian. He's also a great DJ, and he does all that kind of talky music stuff, where they just chat and they call it music, but it ain't really music. We know it's not really music. It's actual chatty, just say lots of words and everyone knows because of what I've heard, that sort of stuff. So it is an interesting one, always a very, very interesting one for me whenever I come into his company because he's from a world that I don't really know much about. And that, of course, is the world of the street because I live in a nice road with wheelie bins and big green trees. And Jonathan, he's from like the rough ends of St. Albans. So although you can't see him, just imagine a really, really good looking bloke, a kind of younger Denzel Washington with the physique of Will Smith. And then just think of the complete opposite of all that. And here he is. It's time to meet our very special guest tonight, the very brilliant Mr. Jonathan Prince.
Big up, big up, big up.
There you go. See, big up, big up. Who says big up, big up, big up in my world? Nobody does, mate. Nobody.
I'm in your world, mate. I'm in your world now.
Well, yeah, it's only temporary because this thing, I can't get it to work. So
I mean, in your world, you can't see me, but I'm in.
it's like proper radio, isn't it? When we can only hear the voice, but we can't see the picture, and the picture makes so much of a difference.
I mean, there you go. We'll just what we got, man. How are you anyway? You good?
I am good, like I said in my introduction. I've got hay fever, man. Who gets hay fever in 2021? It's madness. But you being, of course, the great pharmacist chemist in my life, surely you've got some cure for me, some magic cure using wash up liquid and bleach and stuff.
What made me laugh first off in your
description?
sit there. Big up peeps. Hope everyone's cool. Thanks for listening.
Look at that.
Yeah, man. Like you said, I was a DJ. I don't think I've ever DJ'd, but that's cool. I'm good with that. Have you gone now? Have you left me on the show on my own? Right, peeps. I think he's brought me in and left me on the show on my own. Where's he gone? There's something in the chat. Is he talking to me? Oh my days. Check the techers. Well, peeps, obviously, I don't know if you all can hear me or see me right now, but you know when you have those problems and you just need to be patient and get through them. Now I think that's what John's suffering right now, bless him. So hopefully he'll come back in a minute. Apparently everyone can see and hear me and that. Cheers. Where's he gone? Where has he gone? I was about to say, I was imagining how much ache you were having. You bring someone to your show and then your take ability.
It is what it is, mate. I'm here now. You can see me. It's back. We're back in the real world. 21st century technology. I've got hay fever and a camera. They just didn't want to show me because I'm looking rough today. That's what it is.
I thought your camera had hay fever.
Yeah, all good, mate. So tell us, what you been up to today, mate? What's a typical Monday in the life of the Prince?
Magical Monday in my life. So I'm getting married soon, mate. Went to down south this weekend where we're getting married and like checked all that good stuff out. So happy with that. And then today back to work, man. The old day job.
So tell me, when you was a kid, was you always the funny one? Like, obviously, I've met your family, so I've got a heads up. But would you say you were the funny one in the family?
No, I mean funny, not funny, ha ha. Funny, like strange, isn't it? Yes. Like I was the strange one.
But because both your brothers are very funny people.
Oh, thanks.
No, they are. They seem to be the funny ones, and you come across as the sensible one, which makes it even more bizarre that you're actually, the comedian, and they're not.
Thanks. Yeah.
So how did that work though? When you was a kid, who was the funniest? The big one, right? The Crown Prince, the Fresh Prince, or you, the Prince? Which one?
I don't know, because I was often in my own little world, like just enjoying life. Like for example, if you gave me a bit of mango, I used to dance.
Why you got a big mango? Why are you going to be so stereotypical? You couldn't have like an apple or orange.
Nah. They used to call me Mango Disco, mate, when I was a youth, because I used to eat the mango and dance at the same time. So I was just on a madness. I always had loads of energy. Not really up for sitting still too much.
Okay. I actually tagged you in this link for your Facebook page, but you don't seem able to have found your thing and untagged me, did you?
I have thrown things up, so actually I'm going to look to the left now.
He's looking to the left. For the benefit of the people listening to this on radio, he is now looking down his left shoulder, wearing one of his usual fashionable T-shirts. Is this very street cred, this T-shirt? Is this what all the youths of them are wearing?
This is a kind of youth-ish kind of thing. Yeah, I'd say. Don't know how street I am though, mate. But I mean, yeah, supreme. Like it's like crazy hieroglyphs and stuff.
Very nice. So tell us then, childhood, were you the clever kid at school? Because you are quite brainy, aren't you, mate? Let's be honest.
I mean, yeah.
There's things going on behind them glasses, isn't there?
I think if you're interested in something, if you allow yourself to be interested in something and follow what you're interested in, then not only will you remember it, so your memory will be better, but also like you enjoy learning it. And I've just always been interested in stuff. I've always been like inquisitive.
So at school, was you the one that messed around? Were you the kid that kind of everybody's mate, class clown, or?
So I messed around, but I have we've got Caribbean parents, and my dad was really on the like education. My parents are both really on the education, so I messed around, but only to a point. So I didn't get home and like not get the grades, you know.
Best brightest kid in the class, were you?
No, I wouldn't say so. But I mean, my parents they studied late, right? So throughout their lives, they kind of studied and achieved loads, but always were pushing us to try and study earlier, so we didn't have to go back. The reality is, if you start studying and you learn something and you get a job from what you've learned, then you end up having to continue learning. Life moves on, isn't it? You don't just like stay stagnant.
And then after school, what happened after school when you left school? What was your first job?
Oh, my first job was in a chip shop. Big up Warrington's in Kettering. I don't know if you're allowed to do that, but like,
Of course you can. Warrington's in Kettering.
Cutting the chips.
Mate, all these years I've known you, and I've just found this out. So what's the secret? What's the best time to go to the shop for chips? Early, late? What are you recommending? What's the memory experience telling me?
I don't know. The thing that I know about chip shops is it's hugely different on how often they change their oil.
Oh, mate, that's
so soggy chips normally, and people write in the comments if you get annoyed with this, but soggy chips, yeah, come from places that don't change their oil as regularly, and normally the crispier chips, they change their oil a bit more frequently.
See, these are the sort of things that we need, right? These are the sort of things that we need to know about the British public, the secrets of the chip industry. Yeah, you're going to get on other people's shows, man.
This is it.
Is not me. So, how long did you work in the chip shop?
Probably about. I don't want to. Yeah. So when I was legal age to work, probably a little bit before I was legal age to work, up until being able to get a job, like elsewhere, it was a. Do you know what I mean? Really grateful. Like, you know, when someone gives you, when you go to a country pub and there's people working behind the bar and like there's someone's kid. Do you know what I mean? Just like stuff, that sort of thing.
Okay. And then what happened with the chip? Where did the career in the chip industry? Where did it go wrong, mate? Where did it end?
Oh no, I went to work in a trainer shop because like
a trainer shop.
Yeah, man. Them days, all sports was the thing. That was like you got given a tracksuit when you started. Do you know what I mean? Like the full thing, mate. Top, bottoms, t-shirt, like a polo shirt sort of thing. All sports on it. And yeah, I just felt like I could.
Because you have got a little thing about trainers in you, like footwear. You're big on footwear, aren't you?
I am big on footwear, yeah. Trainers, yeah, definitely. But I don't know whether that comes from being in the sports shop then or that attracted me to the sports shop. But either way, I sold a lot of trainers, man.
I've always seen you as the Imelda Marcos of the comedy circuit, mate. How many pairs of trainers you got, you think? Put a number on it to the nearest 10.
So first off, you've got to explain who Imelda Marcos is, because my mum, only reason why I know what that is, because my mum calls me that. So
you see. Listen, ain't nothing going on for me and your mum. I know it works on the street. Don't cut me up. I'm not dissing anyone.
So for the people then, Imelda Marco, I think that's her name.
Imelda Marcos.
Shoes, apparently. Marcos had loads of shoes. Loads of shoes.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is a really good point to bring Robert in. Robert is one of our regular listeners. He knows a lot about the human mind. Robert, any suggestions as to why Jonathan Prince is so fixated with footwear and t-shirts? Robert's actually making a guess. He reckons you got 40 pairs. 40 pairs. He don't even know you. He's way underestimates there. Look at that. The Prince brain is now working. The genius mind of the pharmacist.
I don't think he's far off, you know. I think that's a pretty good.
Oh, he's a man who knows.
If you count the ones that are still in boxes.
Why would they still be in boxes? Do you just buy them and keep them, take them out and look at them when you're on your own? Is it
it depends, doesn't it? Because some pairs you might buy them and you don't wear them because they're in rotation. And then when you go to put them in rotation, people are going to hate you for like being a hype beast. But they might be worth more than wearing them, innit? So you don't sell them because they're box.
Is there a market for your old trainers?
Well, when you haven't worn them, yeah.
Wow.
There is a market.
Wow.
I only know this because I bought a pair that I liked. Because they had a reverse Nike tick on them. So rather than it going like that, rather than it going like, it went like that rather than like that. I can't do it on the thing, but it was reverse. Bought them, wore them, and realised they were worth like $1,500. But because I wore them, I can't sell them. So.
Well, you know what? You just woken my son up. My son loves his trainers. I normally only have 2 pairs of trainers. That's it. One that I'm wearing to death, and the ones I get ready to come out when the retirement starts. But my son, for some reason, he's got like 20 shades of white, like 50 shades of grey. He's got 20 shades of white. Footwear seems to be Very important. Maybe it's the music thing because he's into all that wacky music you like as well.
Do you know what it really is? While we're talking about like the reality of men's health and stuff, right? When I was a kid, we grew up in a family where my parents worked super hard just to like provide for the family, and outside of that, those provisions, those spaces was like super special stuff. So we didn't like have many like, and I had a great upbringing, man, absolutely brilliant. This is no diss in any way, but we didn't like. I didn't have that opportunity like friends at school who were saying, I told my mum I wanted Nike Air Max, so she bought me Nike Air Max. It wasn't like that. That was like a big amount of the funds that my parents had. So when you get old enough to have that stuff, much like people who are into trains now, you know what I mean, older people.
It's interesting you should say trains, because when we think of people who are into trains, we do think of the kind of strange, weird person. And, you know, your love of trainers kind of does edge you towards that sort of bracket, really, doesn't it?
But I suppose them, man, couldn't afford, a lot of the people who really loved them couldn't afford the trains they wanted when they were younger. They get to an age where they've got a bit of money in their pocket, maybe, and they can afford to go and buy the train themselves, and they go and buy it.
Okay.
Just add to the end of it. That's
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense when you explain it like that. Seems entirely reasonable.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, yeah, but you're looking at me like, and this is that weird that I was saying I had from being a child, right?
So, okay, so you worked in a trainer shop, you've done a chip shop. I can see a pattern emerging here. So, what happened with the next job? Where did you go then?
I decided that I wanted to go and study chemistry with pharmaceutical and forensic science.
A natural progression, some might say.
Natural progression.
Worked in a chip shop, worked in a trainer shop. Now I want to study chemicals and pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Well, my parents came over from the Caribbean, and I always felt like, because when we were younger, like, we always used to travel to see family and stuff. And I used to see my friends who lived around in Kettering, and they were relatively stagnant. And I mean, relatively, we used to go away to see family around the country, like maybe 3 or 4 weekends in a month. And my other friends, they'd kind of stay in Kettering and stuff. And I knew that I just wanted to see other places. And I'm not saying like anywhere in particular, but I just wanted to see other places around the country before I saw the world. So.
Okay, so you start with Kettering and then move on. Where did you go to university?
Bradford.
Bradford, mate. You and the glamour, the chip shop, the trainers, Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
You're keeping in touch with your roots, mate. That's one of the things I love about you. One of your many qualities. What was that like going to university in Bradford? It
was good, man. I'll be honest. The course was great, and I chose Bradford because it was one of the cheapest unis to live at. So over the amount of years that I was going to be there, it was kind of like the sensible decision. It's very close to Leeds, got an airport near it. It's good.
And was it a friendly town? Was it cold? Because you're from down south, did they not?
I mean, when I was there, it wasn't so much where you were from in the country. It was more like, at that time, the locals and the students didn't really get on.
Right.
So like, as when I say didn't really get on, the students went to student places and didn't go to local places at all.
Sad times, mate. Sad times.
I mean, it's changed now, but yeah, that's how it kind of was.
But then you went from Bradford, you've got your degree. Then what happened?
Before I got my degree, I worked in a nuclear power station.
Mate, I might as well give up. So you worked in a nuclear power station before the degree? Was this a forensic thing, or what was this?
No, so environmental safety engineer.
Woo!
They gave me like basically just making sure that everybody on the power station is safe, and that environmentally, I'd say environmentally, next to a power station is probably way cleaner than living next to.
But hang on. Let's just rewind a bit here. So that was before you went to university?
So I did a year out, did 2 years, then I did an industrial placement for a year.
So did you not have to have an interview for that placement?
Yeah.
And did they not go, what can you tell us about your last job? Would you go, well, we had to say things like, we got him on a 10, you got black and we're doing grey as well. Like, what makes you think that, what qualifies you to work in a nuclear power station? And would you go, well, you know, it's like when someone wants chips, sometimes on a pickled onion or maybe a saveloy.
Well, at this point, you studied like 2 years of chemistry, right? So you understand, like,
okay,
half-lives, radioactivity, like generally the way that radioactivity can affect people, the safety measures that you need for that. This is getting really boring. But
no, it's not. It's really interesting, actually. This is the most interesting you've ever been in my company, mate. Quite frankly, I was starting to have doubts about our whole friendship.
I felt really happy because I mean, I was maybe, I don't know, I didn't own a car at the time, and they'd give me like a Land Rover Defender, and I'd drive on the beach, picking up Sandfire.
What power station was it?
Heysham 1, which is in Lancashire. I don't know if you remember, years ago there was Morecambe Bay. There was some maybe mussel pickers who got swept
Chinese
away.
cockle pickers.
Well, I mean, if that's how you want to say it.
Is there a connection here somewhere with a nuclear power station?
So I was right next to them.
Were you
That
a
was
witness?
the
Mate,
beach they were on.
be careful what you say next. Could get you into a lot of trouble. Is this a time for, like, you know, admitting that there was something a little bit iffy going on?
Nah. So, for example, if you go out and I don't know if you've got a drive, but if you had a drive, you could go out.
No, I don't live in St Albans, mate, do I? I don't live where you live. Don't live to the ends. Don't live in your ends, do I?
I mean, like, if you had, like, somewhere around your house and you were to go out and pour, like, I don't know, sunflower oil on the floor or whatever, then you could do. And it doesn't, and no one's going to tell you nothing because it's your house, isn't it? But it's not great for the environment. Whereas on a nuclear power station and or around it, there's like so many measures that you can't do anything like that, like at all. It's all super regulated.
It's all got to be super safe. Super safe. Just going to do a quick shout out because we occasionally get real celebrities coming to have a listen. And this evening we've got one of the greatest living, well, half of one of the greatest living comedy acts in the country, Mr. Brian Damage. He's going to be a guest very, very soon. Come to say good evening. Did you watch him on Britain's Got Talent?
Evening, Brian. I don't really watch TV, but I did watch Britain's Got Talent. I don't know if I saw Brian. Which one was he? Sorry.
He was the man, and Crystal.
Yes. What
am I going to do with you, man?
Do you know what?
I told you we're going to be professional on this.
Do you know what? Yeah. There was she was doing this song about a selfie, right? Yeah, and when I heard the tune, she got stopped halfway through the song.
Yeah.
But that, to me, I could see that song is funny.
See what you're doing now, right? You're stimulating debate with your amazing insights into chemistry, nuclear power, pharmaceuticals, and all that. You've just reminded Steve that when he played for England school's boys basketball team, he got some Nike high tops in green. Now, does that have Jonathan Prince credibility? Are they is that sort of footwear that you'd go? Yeah,
if he had those Nike high tops in green from then, because they'd have probably been made. I mean, I don't know how old this brother is,
but you can guess it, can't you? You're a forensic scientist, mate. You can work it all out.
I'm saying if they were like in the 90s, 80s, 90s that he got them, it sounds like probably the 80s. Then if he'd have kept them box fresh, they'd have been worth money. But either way, man, it's not about being worth money. This is the thing in life nowadays. It's all I know what I've said, but it's all a style over substance, isn't it?
Okay.
People try to find happiness from what they're buying and wearing, whereas
materialism, I think, is the comment you're making.
Whereas this guy had the green dunks and he wore them like playing basketball in them, which is what they were made for.
Yes. Just see, that's our Steve, mate. He's a good man. So then, where did the comedy come from? What made you decide to do comedy? When clearly, your older brother, the Crown Prince, and your young one, the Fresh Prince, are very, very funny people. How did you decide?
Because our family is joke, like extended all the way out to all of my family is joke, and they're all probably more overtly joke than I am. So when we go to a restaurant as a family, people around us will end up joining in or having a laugh with us.
Yep, very infectious. I can see that.
Yeah, like good behaviour, but kind of infectious behaviour, just having a laugh. Do you know what I mean? Or talking to each other and so on. And I say that because sometimes you go out for a meal, right, and people don't talk to each other. They're just like in their phone and
yeah, not a Prince family. There's just noise when you lot are about. Noise.
It's just noise when that's
There's life. And Big Brother's doing his radio show now, or I'm sure he would be tuning in. He does his Reggae Mondays.
He does on TBN Reggae Radio.
Yep. So you're doing this all very, very, very creative. What made you though decide? Because clearly, like a brainy bloke with an obsession for footwear and a intricate knowledge of the fish and chip industry. What then made you decide to go on stage as a stand-up? Because you are one of the most loved men I've ever met. Have you ever met Tucker? No, Tucker's a comic, right? Tucker's a comic. He does a lot of cruise work, a lot of mainstream work. And he's just loved. Everybody loves him. And so he don't get angry because he's just loved. And even when he does get angry, he don't last because he's just loved. And you're like that. There's so much love around.
There's a thing about that though as well, right? We have to understand, this is slightly, I'm just going to say how it is. We have to, well, it'd be nice for us to understand that we control our own levity of mind, right? And when I say levity of mind now, I'm not talking like, oh, I'm happy or I'm sad. I'm talking the things behind what make you happy and behind what make you sad is an energy of vibration. So like happiness, some people will say there's only 2 energies of vibration in the world, right? Happiness or love and fear. And each one is like, anything else is between those 2 things. Ultimately, you control your own levity of mind. So I could be really happy, right? And someone go outside and someone does something and allow that to piss me off. Or when you're pissed off already, you notice other things can piss you off really quickly.
But if you do get annoyed, or if you get hurt or sad, you just got to pick the phone up and you've got a dozen people that have got your back. And we've talked about this before in the past though, is that because you're not really an outsider, I think all the really good typical comics are the outsiders. And then the nicer comics, they make a good living and they're great on stage, but they don't have that nastiness in them that some of like Ricky Gervais has got a real spiteful streak in him. Jimmy Carr saying, which comes through in their comedy, and they say things that everyone else kind of wants to say. But
so you asked me why I got into comedy. I digress for a minute there, but ultimately Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor and the way them 2 went on, especially Gene Wilder, to me was like, I need that. Like always in my life, it was like something. His weirdness. If people don't know, Gene Wilder was kind of like, he was just like a little bit weird. It was acceptably weird, and he kind of allowed himself to just be him, and he was still just a little bit weird. And that kind of humor really made me laugh. So I wouldn't say he was necessarily an outsider for that he wasn't liked or anything, or that he had a dark side or anything. But he was just weird, isn't it? He was just a little bit different to everyone else.
Yeah. But again, that's you all over it, just being nice and not. You could be critical, but you're just nice. And I just wonder sometimes, like on stage, I don't think I ever saw you getting heckled. Because
I rarely get heckled, and I got heckled once. Like there's, for those out there who don't know, there's different kinds of heckles. Yeah, there's like the heckle where someone doesn't realise they think they're trying to help, right? They think they're trying to help, which is fine because they're actually on your side. Like then there's like the other end of that scale where someone doesn't like your stuff, so they're heckling because they hate your stuff, right? But the weirdest one, them 2 you can deal with, I feel. The weirdest one is the incoherent heckle, where it's like. And I got one of those at a big gig, and the people at the gig didn't want to say who it was because it was my dad. It was my dad.
Oh,
so, my dad gave me one of the worst, and I couldn't say anything. And I tried to call him out because I was like ready for them, and then when I realised it was my dad, I wasn't really ready.
Oh mate, listen, I went and done a gig when I was very new, and it was in an Irish centre, and there was an act on stage, and he wasn't doing very well, and my dad just yawned really loud, and the fella on stage goes, "Who's the dad? Who's yawning? Who's yawning?" And my cousin went, "Him," and pointed at my dad. I'm backstage. I'm like, "Oh gosh." And comment says, "Are you tired?" And my dad said, "Yep." And he goes, "Well, why don't you go home and go to bed?" And my dad said, "Well, I'd like to, but I paid my money. I want to laugh first." And the comedian went, "Well, if you stop yawning, maybe I'll be funny." And my dad said, "No, I'm hoping I'll fall asleep and dream of someone funnier." Right? Well, this really escalated. Excuse me. And so then the comedian goes, "God, you're an arrogant beep, whatever." Then my dad used to have this, when he got annoyed, he used to tap his cigarette box, just tap his cigarette box. And he went quiet, and the comedian went, "You're getting, oh look, you look like you're gonna get angry. You're gonna go up here and hit me." So I had to stand on stage and go, "Listen, mate, that's my dad. He will come up on stage and hit you. So why don't you just bring me on and end this sour feeling in the room?" So then he goes off, then I go on. I do my first 2 or 3 minutes. Just about, my dad never gets angry. If you get him angry, he's going to kill you. But he's not an angry man. So anyway, I do my thing and it goes well. And then I come off. Compere goes well. In the interval, Compere says, "You shouldn't bring your dad to gigs if he's not got a sense of humour." And I said, "Why don't you go outside and tell him that? You go and tell him that." And then the Compere went out and then he came back in about 10 seconds later. And I said, "What happened?" He goes, "Well, I got about 6 feet away from him and your dad just put his hand up like that and went, 'Go no further.'" Oh, mate. Oh, yeah, that's about right.
That guy's
Just
courage and braveness left the building.
Just wanted a quick couple of little shout outs to anyone who's come along to listen to us. You listen to me, John Ryan, here on Reading the Signs. This week's guest is Fish and Chip Supremo, trainer expert, nuclear physicist, not DJ, and everything else, Jonathan Prince. I want to just say a quick thank you to Lost Boys UK, who do the music for the show that you hear on the way in and the way out. They're great. Go and have a look, check out their website and that. So, Jonathan, when you're on stage then, and we've established that you're a nice guy, and I'm not saying that you're not tough and rough and can't handle that. You're a nice man. You get through life by being nice. You'd rather shake a man's hand than slap him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when it goes wrong? When things get out of hand?
Every time, if you're going to learn in life, you only ever learn. Everyone wants to learn. If you ask someone, do you want to learn? They're going to say yes. Do you want to improve? They're going to say yes. But nobody wants to do badly at something. Everyone wants to succeed, right? But you only learn things when you don't get to what you wanted, if you know what I mean. You learn from that. Yeah. So for me, I've took it too far on the other side, but for me, every gig that I have a thing in my head that I want to achieve. And it changes every time. Sometimes that thing can be as simple as, I want to be present. Yeah? I want to be present. I want to do this gig. And if I do the gig, let's say that's the thing that I'm doing, and I do the gig, and I don't feel like I was present, I feel like I was just rattling off jokes, or in my head I was elsewhere, or I felt like I'd had extra things to say, but I didn't bother, so I wasn't present enough. The next gig, I'll still want to be present. I'll take that on until I can tick that off, if you know what I mean. And it will change. But I suppose what I'm saying is I try to, if it doesn't go well, try and look for something in yourself that you can either find and learn from, innit? Sometimes learning is just to say, oh, that went shit, and there's not really anything to learn from it other than sometimes it's going to, sorry language, sometimes it's going to be.
But then, you can go, yeah, but what about though, so for example, health, when your own health gives you problems, does that not get you down?
So I had a thing a few years ago, man, life and death in it.
You happy to tell us about it?
So I used to do a lot of press ups and set ups and stuff, and I'd wake up one morning and did 20 press ups, and I was sweating profusely, couldn't really catch my breath, so I thought, I'll just do another 20 press ups. Maybe something went wrong. And long and short, over the next couple of days, I was struggling to breathe in or out, and then I ended up going to the hospital because it was you've got an issue if you can't breathe in and or out, right?
Yes, that's one of the kind of, I would think that's one of the more serious kind of health problems. Can't breathe in or out.
Yeah. So I ended up having, when I got to the hospital, they found out I had a large blood clot in each lung. And it's funny, man, because people can, I think of my life now, before then and after then.
Okay.
But also, some people feel like there needs to be something to spark something within them to do something. And almost it can do. But I think you can find that's in you anyway.
Let me just stop you for a second. So was the blood clots caused by the press ups, or do they think that's something that's always been there and the press ups brought it to the fore?
It's funny, I had a tattoo on my back a few years ago, and the guy said, "Are you alive?" There's only 2 spots of blood come out when I did that whole tattoo. He said it's great for me, but ultimately you should be bleeding more than that. And I never really thought about it, but I think ultimately I've got stickier blood, or there's a thing that carries in the black community called sickle cell anemia. And the long and short of it genetically is that if you were to have 4 kids, the possibility is that 2 of them wouldn't have sickle cell anemia, 1 of them would have sickle cell trait, and 1 of them would have nothing. Or ultimately, it's like a natural thing that what's the word? Darwin. Evolution.
Okay, evolution, yeah.
The evolution of races that were born in places where there's malaria. If you've got sickle cell anemia, you can't catch a fatal dose of malaria. You can still catch malaria, but you can't catch a fatal dose. If you imagine that there was lots of malaria in the area,
You're just always writing, aren't you, mate? You're always just coming up with lyrics.
Malaria in the area, right? But if there was, then you would probably die before you get to the reproductive age of malaria. Whereas if you've got sickle cell anemia, you'll probably die, or you'll start struggling with breathing difficulties because your blood could end up being sickle shaped. So rather than taking 4 molecules of oxygen, it only takes 2. So you imagine you've got to breathe harder, heavier, push the blood harder around. So I have sickle cell anemia, which is neither the trait, the one that would bother you at as you're getting to 40, nor the basically I could still catch a fatal dose of malaria, I believe.
So basically, you got like the dodgy, cheap, looky-likey one, didn't you?
I believe.
Like when we're talking trainers, you didn't get Nike, you got Noki.
Or maybe I can't catch a fatal dose of malaria. I think that's it. I think that might be the case. I have to do some research on that thing. But I think, let's say I can't catch a fatal dose of malaria, but it then means you could have issues with the coagulative properties of your blood.
Wow. Do you know what? This is one of the biggest. It's like I'm talking to like a proper boffin, you know? Talk about coagulation. You've explained malaria and sickle cell. Wow. So let me just go back again because I've got to keep pulling you back on things. So you had a tattoo done. The tattooist says you should be bleeding a lot more than that. And you, rather than thinking, that's a fair point, Mr. Tattooist who does this for a living, I'm going to go make an appointment with my GP. Or did you go, yeah?
I was just happy because the tattoo looked crisp, isn't it? So I was like, that's
So
exactly.
you didn't go to doctors? You didn't bother going to doctors? No.
No.
That sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan. So, and then doing the press-ups then probably caused you a problem, which meant having the X-ray. If you didn't have the
Long and
X-ray,
short, whether I'd have done the press-ups or not, I'd have had that issue because those two clots had already gone through my heart into my lungs and got stuck in my lungs. Had they gone through, I could have had a stroke because they get to your brain, right? But long and short, when you said there, what about when something, how do you understand your levity of mind or keep yourself happy or whatever through something like that? At the time, I was cracking pure jokes because I felt like I was fine. I just couldn't really breathe in or out. So it was an issue.
Hear yourself there. I feel like I was fine except I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, I mean, I was, when they go, how are you in yourself? I was all right in myself.
Apart from the fact that you couldn't breathe.
Apart from I couldn't breathe, it was like you had to physically go, like tell yourself to breathe in and then physically tell yourself to breathe out. Everyone.
It's an interesting one for me because this week is Men's Health Week. And Men's Health Week every year aims to raise awareness of men's health issues. And one of the harsh realities of life is that men die younger than women. 1 in 5 men won't make it to age 65. And then most guys, if you think, 1 in 5 ain't going to make it to 65, most guys will go, well, I'll worry about that when I'm 64. But it fascinates me still traveling around meeting people who they get these kind of hints from Mother Nature. I met a guy who had blood coming out of his backside for 6 weeks. And when I was talking about colon cancer and bowel cancer as part of my comedy health routine. And one of the things I say to guys is like, before you flush, have a little look. Because when journalists want to find out what's going on in a celebrity's life, they go through the rubbish. So if you have a quick look at your rubbish, you can tell the condition of your body. So I say to this guy and the audience, so, if it's dark, that could indicate there's blood present in the bowel. Or it could mean you've had Guinness or red wine. If it's fresh red, it's outside, you've just strained, drink some more water. Just a little simple thing that we go into it. The guy said, no, I've had blood for like about 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So it's longer. And I said, look, well, we got a nurse because I normally have a nurse, or if I'm doing mental health, I have a community worker with me. Okay, why don't you go have a chat with him? And then he made an appointment. His wife had to come collect him because he was a bag of nerves. And they went down to A&E. And so that was at a 9:30 in the morning session. And when I was on my way home at 5:30, I got a message back that he just suffered from severe constipation. But rather than go to the doctors to find out you got constipation, this man just ignored it. For it's going to go away. It's going to go away.
So I want to put a couple of things out there now about when I get ill, because it's not so much from when the tattoo artist said something. It's from when I felt like that morning after I'd done the press ups, I couldn't really breathe in or out, and I was still trying to get on with doing stuff. I was supposed to be going into London only because I saw a friend there at the train station. He wouldn't let me go. So the ultimate be all and end all is, if you're ill or you think something's wrong, you should go and get checked out, right? Big style. Like, I didn't do this, and I was lucky as insane expletive. Do you know what I mean? I was super because for like 2 days I didn't really go, and I only really went because it got to the point where telling myself to breathe in or out, I wasn't sure I'd be able to breathe in or out. And turns out, because obviously there's an obstruction, that's why I felt like that, right? But like, I only went because I was fully desperate. And all I'm saying is, don't leave it till you're desperate to go and get checked out. Like, if you get checked out and there's nothing wrong, then cool, isn't it? Everything goes on as it was.
Yeah, but not indefinitely. That's why, one of my big things is that men take care of their cars. They take pride in their car. They wash their car, clean their car, get it regularly serviced. If the car makes a noise, they take it to the garage. But if their body has an ache or a tweak, they ignore it. They don't go for a health check. All men coming up to the age of 50 should go and have a prostate check. For my cousins from the BME community, or black, as we used to call you before it all kind of got a bit controversial. 40. Go get yourself checked out at 40. You don't have to have the wiggly finger. You can have a blood test. But because we don't talk about it, people don't realise that you need to go. Black don't crack, but you've got to look after it, Johnny.
No, straight up, man. I mean, look, you came to my stag a little while ago, and I'm not going to mention any names, but a friend of mine had a bit of a cough, man. I was a bit worried about the cough, so I said to him, like afterwards, not in front of all the man then, but I said to him afterwards, I was like, how long you had the cough for, bruv? And we spoke about it, and I said, I'm concerned about the cough. If you still have it in a couple of weeks or a week, go and get it checked out. Like, get it checked out. And no one talks about those things. People might feel uncomfortable about something with your friend, and maybe it could be your boss, man, falling asleep in the office, and you're just concerned that he's not like.
Right. Did you voice your concern about his cough before we went laser shooting, and you didn't want him on your team if he was going to have a heart attack and die?
After laser shooting.
After laser shooting, you think, mate, you've got some. Like even the fat man kept going. Why did you keep stopping that coughing? But you see, this is the problem that we have as men. It's about how do you start that conversation? How do you go and get that checked out?
Just say it. Like, I don't know, when the thing that I do really, really feel with, like, and I'm just going to say it with the whole, like, understanding of gender becoming wider now, I suppose is the best way to put it, is that for me, no matter what gender you are, these things, these matters of the mind, what would make you feel healthy of the mind or less healthy, the fact that you can realise you can control your own energy. Let me give you an explanation of this controlling your own energy as well. If you stub your toe, then there's going to be words coming out because it hurts, and it might annoy you. And then if you're having a particularly bad time anyway, and you stub your toe, that will stay with you for a few weeks, and you'll go to the pub maybe on Friday, and you stub your toe on Thursday, and you say to me, I stubbed my toe last night. Yeah. But if you win the lottery and then you stub your toe, you're not going to, you don't even really feel you stub your toe, bro. You don't even feel it because you're like, there's something else occupying your mind, which changes like your interest of mind to register, oh, I've just stubbed my toe. You're not bothered about stubbing your toe. You just won 3 million quid. What I'm saying is those two things, all of that, you are able to control. And often the difficulty in life now, people talk about meditation. For me, meditation is simply allowing your mind time to relax. It's nothing more than that. It can be single point thoughted. So you can relax your mind while only thinking about breathing. If you're only thinking about breathing, then you're not thinking about all the other stuff that's going on. If you're not thinking about all the other stuff that's going on, your mind has a space to rest. Might not be breathing, maybe listening to a certain type of music because you don't have to listen to it. Or distraction. Whatever. Exactly, but something where you're not consciously, where your unconscious and conscious mind can relax and not think about it. And then that to me allows you to store up sufficient energy to be able to see something going on. Like, for example, I might have a gig or I might see certain people who are doing really well in comedy. I see Axel Blake yesterday on, and I don't know brother, but I see him on Britain's Got Talent, and he smashed it. He did a joke about cycling that is going to be in my head, for the rest of my life. Like when you watch like a Richard Pryor thing, and he does a joke about, I don't know, his dad and his mum Vivienne or whatever. The joke. This guy did something, and I thought that's amazing. Part of me could go jealousy. I wish I'd written that joke. I wish I was there and I told that joke. The other part of me is like, I'm really grateful that I'm here to see his joke and I'm able to go out there and perform.
That's a very Catholic attitude, mate. I'm not going to lie. That's kind of, well, that's a whole kind of, well, we got a reward in the next life. You got to accept your lot. You got to work harder, mate. That's what you got to do. Write that material. Find them jokes. Find that funny. Find your own little cycling routine.
Yeah, but you can though, can't you? Because you're here and you're able to. Whereas things could have gone different. I could have stayed at home.
You know what? I've coughed about 5 times. You ain't even told me to go to doctors. But look how you told your other friend.
Well, I'm listening to the cough.
It's
high, bruv. There's no issue. That's like a hay fever cough, mate.
I see where the love is, mate. I'm seeing it. And the other thing that I want to draw your attention to is that you're starting to sound like a conservative prospective MP for St Albans by going, if you stub your toe, if you're a millionaire, it don't hurt. Just work hard, earn a lot of money. and the pain will go. If Boris hears that, we're all in trouble. Yeah, don't go to the NHS. Get a lottery ticket.
That was a bad example, but generally, like, I don't know. People have seen Darren Brown and how he'll invite people onto the stage and like he'll make them either like feel like they're drunk or feel like they're stoned or feel like they're on something, whatever. Right? He can make them feel like they're on something. But what he's actually doing is putting them in a place where they're recognizing that thing or what they think that thing would be like, and they're being that, right?
Right.
What I'm saying is each person has the power to do that themselves, to themselves, if they were to have that knowledge of themselves where they can do that. But for me, you wouldn't have that where you've got all these distractions of, all right, what's so-and-so doing? What's so-and-so doing? And every time you see what so-and-so's doing, you fill yourself up with, I'm not doing enough. All I'm doing is checking what so-and-so's doing. Well, stop checking what so-and-so's doing and look upon yourself, innit? For a minute.
For a minute. Yeah, I guess there is some credibility in that. And then, so now the big thing coming up, you're about to leave one team, join another team. Single men report being happier, but married men live longer. And you've decided to forsake happiness for a longer life. What's going on there, mate? How's that coming back?
I mean, I feel like that's a trap.
Oh, yeah. Carefully set and snared.
I feel like that's a trap. I feel blessed, man. Like, yeah, just feel blessed, really. Happiness. Met someone, proper jokes. Not going to say too much. She's in the next room. I don't want to.
She's watching. She's watching. So you pick your words very carefully. We're playing this at the wedding on the big screen, mate. This bit is going right up there.
Yeah, man, just haps, really. Like, all I'll say on that is like everything. If anyone's going through something that's crap or not good or that you don't really want to happen, then I'd love for you to appreciate that. Number one, that won't, even though it feels like it won't be going on forever. Like after night there is day, after day there is night. So in that respect, like just hold on and you'll get through that thing. Time will help. But on the other side as well, those moments that aren't so good are moments where you can learn it. And then when you do see something that's good, you can really recognize it and enjoy it and allow yourself to enjoy it. And hopefully that comes for all your too.
See, I think that after night comes, that day always gets a lot more kind of respect than night. And I, like, you know, the sun, everyone goes, I love the sun, but the moon don't get the same respect the sun gets, mate. And the moon has to work harder because it's nighttime and when it's bright.
I don't know, man. Ancient civilizations gave equal respect to them two things.
We should do. This could be one of our campaigns for this year. Let's get the moon some credibility because he works at night and he's bright in the dark. The sun is daylight anyway.
I mean, I think it's in Peru, Teotihuacan or something like that. And they've got like a pyramid of the sun, pyramid of the moon. So like they did give them both props. But
that's what we need.
And when things are really serious as well, right? They say like 40 days and 40 nights. When it's real serious,
yeah,
those nights aren't rest time. It's like, yeah.
That's normally a builder say that, though, isn't it? Well, let's say 40. If it's still leaking in 40 days and 40 nights, give me a shout. I'll send a boy around. So what works for you then? In essence, if you're having a tough time, what's the go-to secret for you? What's that one thing that you can offer as princely advice?
If you can clock yourself spending your energy on something negative, yeah. If you can clock yourself spending your energy on something negative, because that happens to all of us every day. There'll be something where you're like, what is this person doing or whatever, some kind of negative thought. Then number one, allow yourself to like, right, yeah, I'm feeling negative or whatever. But basically, often there's something in you, man, to have the courage to use that energy, not to be negative, but look at what in you is it. So people say like, if you don't like someone, it's often something that you don't like in yourself that you see in them. And then that's annoyingly true, you know. It's annoyingly true. If you can be courageous enough to say, actually, yeah, it's this thing. But I think someone said to me, you can't change someone, but you can change how you behave towards them to get from them the behaviour that you wish, right? And it's true. We can control our own selves and minds. And I think we've just calmed in and saying, right, I'm spending energy on something negative and I'm proper pissed off about it. It doesn't work all the time. But if you can try and find what you could affect in that situation, I find that gives me a sense of calm.
Yeah, I do go along with that. I take that a step further, though. I just don't interact with too many people. And in that way, it minimises my chances of being around people I don't like. So, like your stag weekend, my missus thought it was hilarious. She was going, how long do you think you're going to last? I went, mate, I'll be fine. So yeah, but you're going to be with like 16 men you've never met in your life, and at least one or two of them are going to get on your nerves. I went, no, no. I'm not antisocial. I'm selectively social. And there was a great bunch of guys, man. I felt very welcome, very included. And it just showed me that because there was no egos, there was no alpha male. Everyone just fitted into their own little boxes.
Mhm.
I saw people picking up cups. It was like being part of a non-sexual gay community because people just you want a drink? I'll get you a drink. Yeah, let me look. Try this. Just no,
But
no.
in
Well, you've had
itself,
two.
as
You've
you
had two
say,
cups of tea for me.
in itself, as you say that, the unconsciousness of like the people just aren't nice. You have to be in some select community to be nice. But I suppose, yeah, if you can work out to yourself, like, oh, something's annoyed me, like it could be anything, you know. Like I've had things. I don't know. I bake, yeah, and sometimes I'll bake a loaf. What does it say? All right, yeah. Sometimes
Sausage rolling. Yeah.
I'll bake a loaf of sourdough, right? It started during the lockdown piece, but I got good at it, so I've just like kept on with it. And that's because I'm a chemist, so I probably feel like I'm in the lab again. So I've got that affinity for it. But sometimes you'll bake a loaf, and for whatever reason, it's rubbish. It doesn't rise, doesn't taste right. For whatever reason, it's rubbish. Doesn't come out of the Banneton something. You can get annoyed about that and go, "Oh, f baking. I'm not doing that no more." You can try and work it out, or you can just accept it. Yeah, that one was rubbish. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to keep more of an eye on it, and I've got that inquisitive mind to try and work it out rather than slack it
Yeah,
off.
yeah. And that's that also, it's that confidence you get because you succeed at what you do, don't you? You succeed and you put
Yeah.
effort into it, you put time into it, and you got time for other people. So I don't know if you believe in karma or I don't really believe in that. But
So
karma
do you know there's something that goes along with karma? There's a yin and a yang, and karma's one side.
is it a chameleon?
No, so karma and dharma, right? I'm going to give you an analogy. It's easy for you to say. An analogy now, right?
So hang on. I'm getting some an explanation of karma and dharma from the farmer. Man, I can rap. I can write you songs. I can
You're
spit
smashing it.
lyrics, bruv. It's easy. This.
Smashing
I did not think of this years ago.
it. So, as a monk, yeah, sitting next to a piece of water, and he sees a scorpion walk onto a lotus flower, and the scorpion walks onto the lotus flower, and there's this person watching this monk sitting next to the water. Scorpion goes onto the lotus flower. The monk puts his hand out to try and like stop the scorpion from falling into the water. Scorpion goes onto the monk's hand, right, and the monk puts the scorpion on the floor. As the scorpion walks off the monk's hand, it stings him. The monk's like, ow. Then a little while goes, and the scorpion does the same thing. So the monk puts his hand out and he helps the scorpion from the lotus flower. And as he goes to put it down, it stings him. After a little bit of time now, the person watching comes up and says to the monk, "What are you doing? Like, basically, are you mental? Do you not realise every time you go to take this scorpion off the lotus leaf and put it down, it's going to sting you?" And the monk replies, "Yes, it is my dharma. Sorry, it is the scorpion's dharma to sting, while me as a human being, it's my dharma to help." So karma is like packages of things that you do and you have a selfish attachment to. So some people would say like letters that you send in the ether and they come back to you. Yeah, leaving something behind, something in the ethereal world. And dharma is that essence of your being, of what you if you drop everything,
Yeah,
you are.
yeah. I remember this story of this this guy who worked in a safari park in South Africa, and he specialised with elephants. And his little boy grew up around the elephants, was always very, very confident around the elephants. And his dad used to sing a song to the elephants to calm them. And so no matter how angry the elephants was, the dad would go, "Oh, yeah, my name, where you are." And then the boy learned the song. And then when the dad passed, the boy took over, and he pacified the elephants and that. And then he became a documentary filmmaker. And so there was this one elephant when he was about 7 or 8, and he had a broken tusk where it got poached by poachers, and hurt when it was a baby elephant. And it was just going on a rampage, and the dad went in front of it in the village and calmed the elephant down and fine. Anyway, about 20 years later, the guy's working on location in Dortmund Zoo, doing like super nanny for elephants kind of thing. And there was this story of this elephant. They're going to put it down because it was just rampaging, killing, smashing up. And he went along and he saw it had a broken tusk, and he thought, "I know this elephant. I can help this elephant." And obviously, the German people at Dortmund Zoo were going, Don't do it. Look, we're going to kill it. There's no way of saving this elephant. And so he goes, just let me in there for about a minute. And so they did. They opened the gate and he walked in and the elephant saw him and stopped. It was almost, amazing. Like, people's hair was standing in the back of their necks. And the elephant charged at him and he started the song. And the elephant, it trampled him to death because it was a different elephant.
Right. And if you would like to buy this song, it is available on
Oh, mate. So that karma nonsense, forget it, mate. Forget it. It's not real.
I mean, we maybe have to do another one, man, but people's understanding of karma is not quite correct because of the translation of things into the Western languages.
Yeah, it's probably meant to be karma, isn't it? That's what it's called.
Yeah, a lot milder.
Like most things. Jonathan, mate, time is up. It's been absolutely fantastic talking to you as always, bro.
Big up. Thanks for the listeners listening. I don't know if we've had any listeners, but if we have, big up.
And you're a bit at the beginning when you held the show together. Consummate professional, bro.
Well, I mean, I did drink a little bit of my beer, but it did give me.
I will see you in a few weeks when you've left this gang and gone into the next gang, when you've passed across into the world of married men.
Indeed, man. I hope I have many tales to tell.
You will. You'll be very, very successful, very happy, mate. Take care. Speak soon, bro. Thank you so much.
Cheers, peeps.
Thank you. So that was the amazing Jonathan Prince, who you could just talk to for hours. What an interesting guy. Started off in a chip shop, and then now he's, a chemist, a pharmacist. The guy's just busy. He's just a busy bloke, and quite amazing, really. Very inspirational. When you're being served by someone in a trainer shop, and you think, "Oh, this chav, this is the only job they can get." Always remember that some of them they go on to great things, and I'm sure that he will go into even greater things. So as always, it's been brilliant having guests on and having people to talk to. I do appreciate everyone who comes along every week and has a listen. If you are listening to us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, SoundCloud, just understand that you're part of a family, men's radio station and women's radio station. We are a family. You're not on your own. I know it seems difficult sometimes, but you can always tune in and there'll be someone here that you can get a conversation going with, or you can get some help from, get some, not advice, not clinical advice, but some practical advice maybe. Our final comment of the evening has to go to Steve Troop, who is just an absolute legend. He went 36 years undiagnosed of having a serious mental health issue. Some of it was him just not looking for help. All of us maybe have got a little ache or a little pain or a little twinge that we just think, I'll ignore it. And the problem with ignoring it is you're a long time dead. It is Men's Health Week this week, and so I would urge all of the men, and if you define yourself as a man as well, because one of the beautiful things about the whole trans movement is that at least we're questioning what it means to be a man. So anyone you know who considers themselves to be a man, encourage them to go and get help. Women need help as well, don't get me wrong, but this week we're just giving a little bit of extra attention to the fellas, because 1 in 5 men is not going to make it to age 65. Suicide is the main killer for men now, the age group 19 to 50, whatever it is. It's serious stuff. All we're trying to do is get people talking, encouraging debate. We're not going to fix you, we're not going to cure you, but we're going to help you to realize that you are not on your own. One of the most important things about wellness and well-being is, please don't ever think it can't happen to you, because it can do. You can find yourself doing press-ups one morning, and before you know it, the world can come crashing down all around you. So before that happens, make sure you go and get checked out. Make sure that you take yourself off to the doctors, but also make sure that you check in with your mates, with your colleagues, and just say, are you all right? I just want to make sure that you're okay, because when I'm checking on you, maybe you'll check on me. Maybe then we realize that we're all checking in on each other. And we realize we're all actually part of one big family, as we are here, reading the signs Monday night, 7 o'clock. Take care. Have a good morning. Well, that's the end of another great show. What a brilliant guest that was. I could have spoken to them for hours. Don't forget to check out all the other brilliant shows on the mensradiostation.com website, as well as womensradiostation.com as well. Do subscribe to all of our media outlets, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all those things. But tell your friends. Big thank you to Lost Boys UK, who have provided this fantastic music for the show. Check out my website, happytohealthyou.com. We'll be back next week. Really do take care of yourself, and remember, you're not on your own. You're part of the mensradiostation.com family. Take care. Good night.